If you hear me, sensory parents, I'm inviting you up. The ladies you saw before are my TikTok fam, and we were just having our regular discussion. They were keeping us company until you came on. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Let me see if I'm trying to get this thing on.
No problem.
It's not popping up here. For some reason, my camera's not coming on.
Okay. I mean, you can keep on trying, or we can
We can get
talk.
right into it.
It's whatever you comfortable with.
It don't matter. This is my first time on live, so I'm not really sure how to.
Oh, okay, okay. So you should be able to look on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then where it says, it may be just that you need to either flip the camera or take it off, put it on image. There's usually a line on it, and you just gotta click it, and it should come on.
Okay.
Yeah, so try that.
Boom. There we go.
All right, there we go. We got you. We got you. Well, welcome, and thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you a lot. I do have to get a little hype because I like the fact that I got another guy. The only other guy that I interviewed was my husband, so it's good to get another dad. So I'm happy about that. So what we do here, we talk about um, autism or any other disability. We don't have, if another parent has a child that they're dealing with other disabilities, we speak on that as well. So what we do every Tuesday at 9, we get the parent or the professional's perspective. And a lot of the parents give great ideas to other family members, and they also take the opportunity to just vent and they get it out of there, if there's things that they just want to talk about. So I'm just going to introduce myself, and then after that, I'll let you introduce yourself, and then we'll begin. Okay? So my name is HR. We made this page, HR Parent Support Club, for literally in its name to support parents. We are on TikTok. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. We are on Twitch. And I have a podcast called I Made Peace with Autism. And it's on Spotify, so please check that out. The audio on Spotify, and you can see the whole live audio and visual on YouTube. HR Parent Support Club segment. Today we have Sensory Parent, but I don't have your full name. But I'll call you Sensory Parent for now. If you want to give me your name, that's fine. You don't worry about it. And he is here to talk about his journey as an autism dad. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my name is Miles. So you can call me
Miles.
Miles. Nothing like that.
Okay.
Yeah, Three Parents Global. So we're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and we'll be on school pretty soon. Coming up this next week, actually. So pretty much what we are is just a group of individuals that want to support other parents and stuff like that. But it's more on a more direct basis. I would say we come from like a real space where not really sugarcoating what goes on because again when you realize you got to help your child through this journey, it's a different sort of thing, and
Yes.
it challenges you in many ways that you never thought before. So
Yes.
you really find out a lot about yourself.
Yes, that is true. Definitely true. Well, thank you for agreeing to having an interview. Thank you for responding. We appreciate that. And so, first question I want to ask you is about your child. So, I think you said you have a son, correct?
Yeah,
So, tell me about your
my
son.
oldest son, he's about to turn 8 years old.
Okay.
He's on the spectrum. He's level 3 nonverbal, so he's never been able to speak. Period. He makes noise and stuff like that, but he uses the AAC device too to communicate. Plus, he's been really good with like you know hand-eye coordination things of that nature. So we have a pretty much our own little language that we can understand each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my little guy, and yeah. taught me a lot about being a father. Uh, Going through, I've been through so many different things with him because we really tried everything.
Okay.
Uh, Support goes, so I have a lot of experience with therapy,
Mhm.
uh, dietitians, nutrition, holistic, regular medical, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. 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 Is that your only child?
Huh?
Is that your only child?
No, I have a younger child who's neurotypical. He's 3 years old, and then I have another baby on the way. Yep.
Oh, congratulations! Congratulations. Okay. Okay. I did. Okay. Well, your other child is younger because mine is the other way around. My youngest has autism. My oldest doesn't. So that's how I was able to see certain things. So going into that, what made you start seeing something was a little different with your boy?
So, to be honest with you, I had no clue. I didn't really take a big, being a dad, you really didn't take anything off it. Like, at first he wasn't talking. He was like 2 or 3. I'm like, I mean, some kids talk late, so he started 5, he talks in school, whatever. And I always just say, like, he was real chill. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't trip off of nothing. Like, I can leave. Like, when we dropped him off at daycare for the first time, he was 18 months. Didn't cry. He just kind of went on. I'm like, man, my little dude is chilling.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it was probably around Halloween, he used to do like a lot of activities when he was about 2.5, almost 2 years ago. He was started noticing some things like he wasn't responding to his name as much. Uh, and the other
Okay.
thing, like eye contact or just kind of noticing certain things, and then it was actually brought to me by one of his the head of his daycare, and she was like, "Hey, I don't want to come up," because she was real careful how she did it because she didn't want to offend us, but she was like, I noticed that the son doesn't say that many words, and I'm not sure if it's autism or not, but I think you guys should get it checked out. From
Okay.
there, we just kind of started taking it, just started taking a look at certain things and seeing how things work. Because we didn't get offended. We were just like, okay, we were first time parents, so we're like, all right, cool. And I just really, I was just kind of like, I think he'll be all right. And then as we progressed, as we got older, we started to see, okay, there is a delay there. When it comes to learning different things and stuff of that nature. But again, it's kind of different because it was kind of hard for him because he caught on to something and other things he did not catch
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think with autism, what you start to learn is
Yeah.
again, it's like it's not a lack of intelligence. It's a different way of processing.
Yes.
You know, so it's like instead of them understanding how to mimic something directly, they're going to break it down to small incremental pieces.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's what I had to learn. You know?
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that. So when you did find that out, what was the next steps you and your wife took to?
So we immediately start getting them into speech therapy and occupational therapy.
Okay.
So waiting lists are crazy. So it took them just
Yes.
a minute, but
Yes.
around 2.5 years old, we were able to really get him in there and start getting him going. So he was doing speech and occupational therapy,
Okay.
and he had both at the same time at first. So that's how we really started getting him into it. Now he wasn't diagnosed officially because of our laws here and stuff like that, and waiting list until like 5. But we pretty much knew by that time.
By that time, yeah. What state are you in? If I may ask. Where? Missouri, you said? Missouri. Okay, okay, okay. Well, that's good to know. Because in case there's a parent in Missouri that would like to know more information, that's good. Okay. So he started with the speech and the OT. Did he take it in school or did they come to your home?
So when we event, we did outpatient. So we just went to the hospital and they had a therapy sessions there. So that's when we do it. And then sometimes we had to split up twice a day, or it was different times because we went through it to where we had a therapist at first. It wasn't the right fit. We had to go get another therapist. Wasn't the right fit. Then we had 2 ladies that wanted to do it at the same time, and so we dealt with that. So it was a lot, but we got him into the groove of where he could start developing, and he did gain skills from there.
Okay, that's good. That's good. What was some of the challenges that you and your wife faced when you realized he had autism?
Some of the challenges, you know, um, I think both my wife and myself, our temperaments are pretty solid, so we can pretty much deal with a lot of different things. It was more about the outside world dealing with that kind of stuff, So when they came to finding daycares and when they would tell us, we say, hey, he has a developmental delay, he may have autism, do you guys handle this? And we will go take him to daycare. And of course, they were like, oh, yeah, sure, you fit the demographic, you fit this little box that we want to check off. And then he would have an issue. And then now we have to go back to square one, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So that was sort of the main issue that we had with a lot of places. Like, I remember when we took them to this real ritzy one time, and they were like, "Oh yeah, sure." And it was like, "Well, just drop them off with us for like a couple hours, and we just want to see how you acclimate to the kids
Mm-hmm.
and go from there." And we did it. We came back. It was like they had no experience with kids with autism. They were acting like he was a danger to everybody and stuff like that because he was screaming. Because again, he was just so out of place.
Yeah.
So that was really the one of the biggest challenges I saw with him. So I was like, that's when I really kind of locked in and took over. I'm like, okay, we're gonna make sure we get this on the right page, and whoever else we deal with from now, we'll make sure they're fully vetted, and they actually have somebody on set that's ADA certified, that's
Mm-hmm.
OT certified, speech certified, that's had these kind of experiences before.
Okay. Okay. That's, I mean, what you say, I think a lot of parents could deal with. I know a lot of experiences like that too. So definitely what you're saying is something we all could definitely understand. As a father, because that's one of the things that's why I like speaking to all parents as a father. How are you dealing with it? And it's a two-part question. How are you dealing with it? And what advice would you give to that father that's just finding out now that their child has autism?
How am I dealing with it? I'm pretty good, man. I kind of accept my babies as like for all like who they are, no matter what. I'm a rock with you, no matter what. I don't care how different you are. I mean, he could have came out with no legs, and it's gonna be the same kind of
Yes.
motion. You know what I'm saying? So I've never really tripped off of that. You know, I would say it helps me appreciate every day a lot more. I appreciate every ounce I got, everything I get to go do. That's why if you watch any of my content, it's pretty much in your face, straightforward, like no complaining. Because I think the biggest thing that's flooding this market right now is people are kind of getting on this kind of this force of trauma bonding, and
Mm-hmm.
everything heavy. Now this can get heavy. I'm not gonna not say that, but at the same time, people want ideas, tricks,
Mm-hmm.
game on how to do these certain things. Everything can't be gloom and doom all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta at some point. Okay, I dealt with like when you share a story, how are you telling the next person? Because they can share. Because think about autism in general. It's such a nuanced experience.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's still learning so much information about
Mm-hmm.
it. Even the doctors. Like I've had doctors I could tell had no idea. I've been to
Yeah.
therapists, they had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the more information we share and the more stories we tell about different times, whether it comes to feeding time or just interaction with your child, that's the best thing. But what I could tell a father, the most best advice I could tell a father,
Mm-hmm.
I would say take your time and then really get to learn your child.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you learn is
Mm-hmm.
you'll learn the difference between their personality and their delay. And you need to know the difference between both of them so you know how to handle them in different situations.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell the difference between a meltdown and a tantrum, or if they're just overstimulated, or they're just cranky. 'Cause they're still kids. They still gonna do kids stuff. They still gonna get mad and irritated. They get annoyed by you. So they're still children. So I would say the best thing is to really learn your kids and then educate yourself on things. Learn about the different therapies. Learn the activities you can do at home. Learning what you can do out in the open. And I would say another thing. I know a lot of people may think, but I would say take them everywhere with you. That's one thing I've always done. I
You
take them
talking to
everywhere.
somebody that agree with you 100%. Yep, take them everywhere with you. Yes, keep going.
It's like if you avoid the hard times, it gets harder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's what it is. If you avoid the hard times, it gets harder. My son goes everywhere with me. I let him stay home to give him a break. But most of the time he's with me everywhere, and we're interacting on different things.
No, I agree with you 100% because that's the way I am with my daughter too. Take them everywhere, and that's how they gonna understand life better too. So we're learning together. So I definitely agree with that. So what besides OT? I know you said OT speech and ABA. Is there any other resources your son gets in the community?
Yeah. So I've been through every therapy. So we've been through OT, speech, We are currently waiting. We've been in food therapy. We're back on the wait list for food therapy.
Okay.
So that's a new thing because they have specific food. So we done food therapy, and it's still very new. It's hard. So different states will call it different things. Some people will call it food services. Other call it. It'll be. It's usually accompanied with occupational therapy.
Okay.
So a lot of states and cities don't have it yet. It's getting more popular now,
Yeah.
but it's a little bit trickier to get. But food therapy is one of the main ones I would suggest every parent get into and try to do, especially if your kid's a picky eater, because the biggest thing is, as everyone knows, is like their gut, keeping their gut in order. You know, 'cause my son only eats one food, but I have been able to push him over to having green juice to get his vitamins, stuff like that. You know, so we're still working past that stuff. But I would say food therapy is like the number one. I think people should try to get into if they can.
Okay. Now, if you can explain food therapy for someone that doesn't know what it is, if you can explain that to us. Mhm.
So food therapy is so I'll give you a few pieces of advice.
Mhm.
So if you go there, a lot of times some doctors like to get you to keep getting referrals to different places.
Mhm.
You want to make sure that a lot of times you get in line for food therapy, you'll actually have to go to a dietitian or a nutritionist. It just depends on the doctor. Because I went to one doctor, they told me one thing. I went to another doctor, they told me another thing.
Okay.
The more likely you have to go to a dietitian, and then from there, they will refer you to a food therapy session.
Mhm.
So food therapy is just pretty much helping your child get familiar with interacting with different foods and different textures and everything. That's why they kind of relate it to the OT.
Oh, okay.
So I would say just like if you ever had a kid that's been in OT, it's just like OT except you're using food and it's on a play basis as well.
Gotcha.
So that's the biggest thing. So a lot of times and here's one of the best ways. I'll give you a piece of game too.
Mhm.
If you're trying to introduce a new food to your child, always do it in very small increments. Now, how it's explained to me is,
Mhm.
so say if your kid's favorite food is Doritos,
Mhm.
and that's all they eat is Doritos,
Mhm.
and you want them to eat something healthy like blueberries.
Mhm.
When you're introducing that, first off, don't go put five, six, a handful of blueberries on there because the way they look at it is this is the way she explained to me. Take the blueberries as roasted or some kind of disgusting thing.
Oh.
So if you put your favorite food on the
Mhm.
plate and you put a pile of roaches, you're less likely to touch it. But if I put one, you might eat your food a little bit
Mhm.
and then maybe just look at that and tolerate it.
Mhm.
You know, so that's a major thing that I would say to anybody. So when you're introducing new food, do it very small and incremental. So that's kind of one of the things you'll learn in food therapy. Another thing you'll learn is to make it play based. Getting them just to hold the food is a big step.
Yes.
Just the texture of the food that you want. And then when you're trying to get them new food, introduce new food, like say we take Doritos for example. Stay with one of those characteristics of the Dorito, whether it be the color, so you use carrots, or the crunchiness, you use carrots for that, or you use oranges because it's the same color. You know, you want to kind of stick with those same things.
Okay. Well, thank you for that explanation because that's a good one too because food therapy is a good suggestion for many parents as well. Um, and besides the food therapy, is there anything else that maybe other parents won't be familiar with that you have tried?
Um, I would say a big thing. I think ABA is really important. ABA therapy,
Okay.
just kind of helping them kind of get used to the day to day activities that they have to go out in the world with. I think that's the most preparedness that's going to give your child ABA therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Speech therapy and OT are very important, but I think you'll see the biggest leap when you do ABA therapy, especially when you get a good ABA therapist. You know, somebody and then that's the biggest thing too. Some people have nightmares about therapy, but a lot of times it's just finding the right therapist that works with their child.
Mm-hmm.
Again, because again, your kid will always go off a vibe. You know, whether they vibe with the person or not, and whether that person can communicate with their child or not. You know, because everybody has a different style of teaching.
Yeah.
That's what you kind of learn when you get into all these therapies with your kids. So find the one who has the best style that goes along with your child.
That's it. That's good advice. Thank you. Thank you on
You're welcome.
that. The other question I would ask you, this will be more for me personally. How was it with potty training?
Easy.
It was easy.
Yes.
Wow.
Easy.
Okay.
He
Okay.
he's
Okay.
again, that's the wild thing about like autism, man. Like
Yeah.
some things your kids get and other things are more difficult. Like
All
He
right.
like so
Okay.
he probably started. We probably trained him at 3 to 4 years old, but it was really just because we were just kind of letting him be.
Okay.
But he just eventually it was a pretty easy transition. It took a weekend, and he was there. So like yeah, that's why I heard a lot of other stories. I know it's definitely a difficult thing, but for him it was easy because again he doesn't like certain feelings. And being wet is one of them. Now he likes swimming. He on his clothes. He does not like it.
He doesn't like it. Yeah. Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. That's good. That's definitely good. Okay. And so what is one advice you would give all parents, you personally, like how to go through this journey? Since you have 8 years of experience, what what is the best advice you would give any parent, whether it's a mother, father, grandparents, whoever's taking care of that child?
I would just say I would go back to it. Learn your child. You gotta develop their relationship. Their relationship will teach you so much about them. When you learn their personality, and again when you learn about the effects of autism and you learn your child's personality, everything will make sense to you because it's letting you know where to differentiate from and when to give them grace and when to provide discipline and then when to allow them time and space. If you don't learn their personality, you don't know when they're what frustrates them, what upsets them, what makes them scared. You have to understand that. Like one thing weird about my son is some things, the things that will overstimulate him the most, eventually he'll try to battle that and try to overcome it.
Hmm.
Like he has a real hard time with the sound of birds chirping when he goes outside.
Okay.
But we have a noise machine in his room to help him go to sleep. And now he's switching it to the bird sound, trying to compete with it, trying to tolerate it now.
Hmm.
So he's done that with several different things. So like as I said, it's such a nuanced thing. So I know, and he's done that with several different stimuli. Like he's done that with hand dryers in the bathroom. At first, I couldn't take him in public bathrooms because the hand dryers were too loud for him. He would hold his ears, he would start screaming, and then eventually we had to keep going. And I kept exposing to him lightly, and then he got used to it. And then now he goes up, he dries his hands. He'll still hold his ears from time to time, but that's what he'll do.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And what would you say is the most that you learned from your son, you yourself?
The most I learned from him,
Hmm.
uh, gratitude. Gratitude, man. I understand. Like I understand my mission here is to make sure his life is livable as possible for him. He has whatever we consider normal for him as much as possible. Because again, as more than likely most of our babies gonna be with us for our whole lives. So it's like one of those things that we have to make this space for them to grow and to be protected. That's just the real side of it. So that's the biggest thing you're talking about gratitude every day that again, 'cause I have to make decisions for him. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how long that will be. It might be forever. He might become independent. I don't know those things, but I know I could be grateful and empathetic to his situation, and I know I can handle whatever because he's handling it. You know what I'm saying? If he can get up every day and deal with it and trust me to take care of him, we good. You know.
I like that. And what do you appreciate about your son? Him, himself, his personality. What do you appreciate about him?
I appreciate his like I said, his kind of courage because he's scared as hell of certain shit, and then he just goes after it. Like I said, like even the things that bother him, like he just keeps coming forward. Like he can't tell you, but I can see by the things he's doing that he's still challenging, and he's a funny guy. Like he's kind of quirky in his own way because like some things he messes with, some things he don't. He's kind of funny. And he like I don't know. He's like a teenager too. Like he don't like you in his face. He'll kick you out of his room. He just points to the door like just go to the door. Just get out of here. You know what I'm saying? So he's like a grown. He's like living with a 17-year-old already at 8 years old. So I think that's what I like about him. He's kind of a funny guy.
He's a funny guy, yes. Yes. Well, I definitely appreciate everything that you have said today. And I love hearing your perspective. I love hearing every parent's perspective. but I really like listening to your perspective because you said something that I really love is that gratitude. And that's a deep thing. That's what all of us sometimes have to take in, that we need to be grateful that we have these children and also be grateful that we're getting a new experience and we're learning different ways to parent, to be a person. We're learning. So we appreciate everything that you said today. There's some things that you said I'm going to look into it for my daughter as well because she's a picky eater too.
Yeah.
She's a very picky eater. So, so definitely, I appreciate you saying yes, and I appreciate you coming on. And that's what we do here. We just have this podcast every Tuesday, and we put it on for parents to hear. And a lot of new parents may not know what to do, but since some of us has been in it a few years deep, listening to these podcasts, they can have an idea of what they can do. So we appreciate you, Miles, and we thank you for being here. Okay.
Appreciate you too.
All right. And is there anything that you want to plug? Any events you having? Anything? Just go ahead. It's your time. Let us know.
Just follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Sensory Parents Global. Like I said, we'll have a school community actually dropping next week. So if you guys need any more information, we have some guides on there. We'll have a course on there as well. So just give you some general information if you guys. How about that? Because again, I know it's different in every city, in every state. Just because a lot of states now are taking away some services and then some services are being kept. It just depends on where you're at. So just for general information, Sensory Parents Global, feel free to come join us.
Okay. And then the classes that you're gonna have, is anyone from any state can go on it, or is it something in person?
It'll be
And
on school, on school.com, SKOOL, and they'll be on there for Sensory Parents. Just look up Sensory Parents.
and whenever you make the flyer for it, please send it to me. I'm gonna post it on my page too.
No worries, we'll do.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You have a great
All right.
night. And thank you for continue doing a good job. All right.
You as well.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Houseco. Thank you, SBL. Thank you, Casey. You guys are a great support. We appreciate you. I'm going to put those little rascals to bed now. You guys have a good night.